Hello again and welcome to the Louise YouTube channel, filmed at the Louise Studio and Gallery in Buxton in Derbyshire. This is the third and final part of the textured landscape series, and this is the part in which we're going to paint it. So everything's been put together, the structure's all there, and now we're just going to put acrylic paint on it. I hope you enjoy it. Please remember to like and subscribe if you get something out of the video. It's really helpful. And if you have any questions or any queries or even any subjects that you would like me to cover, please just put this in the comments below and I'll endeavour to do what I can. Thanks very much. All the best. And so now to paint it. I've got two on the go. So this is the first one that I put down. I've got my acrylics out. Here I go. I've been using a lot of yellow in the skies and I want to do that. Sort of bring it through, and you sort of don't have to worry about the edges, because it's all gonna get it all out as you go on, you know. So make sure you do the in between bits of the rocks. So I'm just using sort of a Naples yellow colour. It's not quite that, I've mixed it, but that's the idea. And then these lovely greys in the skies and a bit of blue. And just bring it over, just bring the whole thing a bit, give the whole thing a bit of life. And again, remember, don't water down your acrylics too much because it destroys the bonding between the acrylic itself. So use it reasonably thick. And then that's just the start, that's just the beginning coat. Don't fret about it too much. And you can already see the lovely textures coming through on the clouds. And really, you know, you don't want anything too much. You want the textures to speak. That you don't literally paint them with sort of white clouds or anything like that. You want the textures to have a voice. So you can paint the depths and the surfaces. So I'm going to get some golden yellows in there as well, because I want them to act like they're sort of catching the light at the end of the day. So just popping them in. And then I'm going to go for brown. That's going to go in the depths. So grey-y brown. And I'm going to just put that through. But you can see the yellow's lovely on there as well, so I'm going to try and use some of that a bit more. Oh, and it's not dry. I'm just getting it started. I want some more yellow on there. And then through onto this bit as well. It's just the base coats we're getting on here. Stick that down afterwards. Right, now just and see how it sits on the surfaces of these gorgeous textures. It's effortless. So nice. It's so nice to paint it. Just going to lift up. And I'm just going to do these down here. Right, that should have been a colder grey on the top. But look, you can just get a cloth and lift it out. And even that's absolutely gorgeous. So simple to do. And I think the thing to do is not overpaint it, so that the textures do remain in there. I'm going to bring in a couple of the rocks just so I know what I'm doing with them. And some of this down here. Again, the path can be worked on over a period of time, can't it? I want these that yellow touching everything, like the sun's just catching it. Let's have a warmer colour to the bottom, and then it's much more of the foreground colour. Again, using the red to bring it through, and just look how it picks up on the things. Right, can add interest with that just by pulling different bits of colour through. And again with this. Right, now I'm going to go into the depths here, and I know what I want. I want, you know, some proper dark colours in there. I want some dark greens and browns, because I'm going to paint. I want the colour to go in between the holes as well. It's a nice green actually. I want a nice rich brown, but perhaps not there. Perhaps keep it dull and grey up there. Oh, that's a beautiful colour. Just touch it through. So that was just cerulean blue, the green and a black mixed in. But of course it's the colour that allows it to have a recess into the distance, doesn't it? There you go, that's a lovely grey. I'm going to make that a bit pinker. It's just a green mixed with a red. It's lovely. Okay, we start to build up the colour. Something none too descript so that it confuses it. And there's lovely hints of heather in the background, but not too much. You want the more down here. There was a nice bit here. So I'm going to do that in that, which is a red and a green mixed together, but with predominantly red in it. I love that. Oh, so nice. Right. The green. Okay, I'm getting the white out at this point. Getting bits of colour in that we're going to use. And then we can go in afterwards, you know, bringing detail out. And of course, like, you put the colour on, well, that's not it, is it? You can go back and over and over and over and over and over it, bringing colour out and textures out to work for you. Okay, so I've got most of the colour on there, and next it's really just to bring out the details and the colours, and just whether you know what sort of colours you do want. But let that dry and then go into it. The sandstone has it does have a yellowy tinge to it, you know. Now this is where, see, that's where it really works, where it just starts sitting in the grooves. So you don't really have to mess with it that much, it just sits in there. And it happens like almost of its own accord. Honestly, that's about all you need with the cliffs. I want it to look like the light's just touching it, you know? And just give some shadowing in the grooves, but not too much. Just want to take that out so that you have that translucent look. More green these bits. So the first layer is painted. You can see how the paints are absorbed by the fabrics and by the papers, and also how they sit on all the lovely textures. I like this as it is. I'm not really quite sure where to go with it. It'll need tying together, but I really like the way the paint has sat in the grooves of the rock of all the bits and pieces of the paper. So I'm not quite sure where to go with this. So it really depends what you're after now. That's the first layer dried. And it depends what it is you want from it, from the painting. So, I mean, there's lots in here, as I said, that I like. So what do? Do I just bring out some of the, some of the contrasts? Oops, that's horrible. Let me just get a blender. I like the dark dirtiness of it, you know, because we get that sort of look around here so much. In Derbyshire it's so wet so often, and it does create some sort of nice interest in the clouds. And I also like the contrast between the colour of the cliffs and the sky, because I like the way the sky is. Now the cliffs have picked up this gorgeous yellow tip. And I don't want to make the cliffs too dark. You know, I like the whole thing remaining, keeping that funny lightness on it. I'm just going to try and keep that and just make a few contrasts by taking the white in. You see, and what happens as well is the glow of the initial yellow in the background comes through. So that works nicely too. There's a horrible dirty bit there from that mark I did. Honestly, that's all I really want in the background. I might put some birds in. I love the birds, the rooks and the stuff. I wake up in the morning, the next door neighbour feeds the rooks, and oh, they're lovely in the morning, bickering. So there's some really nice textures come out in the sky as well. I really am enjoying the spontaneous way it's reacted to the textures, and I think if I overdo it, I'm going to spoil it. So I'm really keeping this very, very simple this time. There's principles like maybe the base should be dark, but I really don't want to overdo it. I really like the way it's settled into those textures, and I want to not overpaint it so that you don't get rid of those lovely textures that have happened. This front bit would be darker though, and it would have more depth in it. And then just keep working on this lovely bit at the bottom. It seems to be wanting to come out of its own accord in any case. I don't seem to have to bother with it, you know, try too much. So I've just got a green, a black and a bit of red there as a grey, you know, a warm grey to come to the front. And here it was a cooler grey, and I even put a bit of yellow in it. And I've completely ruined it with a white brush there, but honestly, there's not much that you have to do. And then you can again just touch it onto the surfaces. So it picks up the textures. A little bit more dark in there. Oops, a daisy. Like I say, a warmer. It is sandstone, isn't it? So it does have that lovely yellow look to it. And of course this was also really applicable to collagraph making because it's such a similar technique. You know, you're looking at the colours, the textures in order to create things. I just want a bit of sort of land in there. It's just sort of making it suggest that it goes behind it a bit. But again, don't over describe it. It doesn't need it. It also doesn't need that much paint. I'm really touching very light colours in here. There's some rocks that you can pick out here. Again, you can use the darks underneath it. And also this is where the speciality brushes come in. So you can use these lovely textured brushes, I will list them in the description below, to make marks, to make specific marks. And I'm going to use them for the heathers. So not only is there the texture of the bandage stuff, bringing stuff out, but you can also texture it with these if you want to. I mean, you can go on and on and on until you're happy. I mean, I am actually quite happy with it as it is. If I was doing it for myself just to sell, I think I'd leave it as it is and maybe put a varnish on it. I mean, it came out very quickly, instantly. It almost seems too easy. But I will show you how to do some textured mark making for the heather. So you get your speciality brushes and it's just a question of finding where you want to do it and just dip over extra colour. And all this is the heather. Because you need the depths of the heather too, so you need some browns in there, and you can just touch onto the surfaces of the textures you've got there as well. So I've got a reddy pink there, and it's the colour I've used in the rest of the painting too, and I'm just touching it over, stippling it over so that some of the heather mark makings come out. And I don't want it too bright, I want a very subdued little image here. And again, you try to keep the grey blue to the distance because that'll give it some depth. And then it's up to you how far you want to go with this. Because I've used the yellow up here, I'm just going to bring some of it down here just to take your eye down. And you actually you tip it on the tops of the grasses and it just makes those colours. Again, I really don't want it overly colourful. I tend to add too much colour, I do. I still don't like this, it's too prominent, you know. I'm going to just get a grey in there and take it right back. Just pop some darks in just to bring your eyes down. I've used a purple colour there, but I really want it more red. It is amazing how it can take red. And it is amazing that you don't need to really worry about it. It just seems to happen of its own accord. I'll tell you what would be nice is an orangey colour. You know, go a bit bold because there is that lovely yellow in the sky. You see, I want nice brushes to go with the orange. And again, here's Louise getting carried away with colour again. It's just to make this come forward a bit, you know. And that's about it. So it was just a question of dibbly-dabbling little bits towards the end, isn't it? And picking something up so that your eyes are taken down to this corner a bit. Right, I'm going to leave that as is because it's nice to see how the textures work in it. If I overpaint it, it becomes complicated with paint. Thanks for watching this series. I'm going to be doing plenty more. If it was any good to you, can you please remember to like and subscribe? It really helps. Thanks for watching. All the best. Bye.